OMG, guys. We got some major news in the college football sphere this past week. 2024 number 1 overall prospect Dylan Raiola committed to Ohio State. And guys, Ohio State's 2024 class is looking unbelievable. They lead currently for the nation's number 1 receiver. They're possibly also leading for the nation's number 2 receiver. We're going to get into all of that. But first, when it comes to Dylan Raiola, where he's ranked, where he'll end up, guys, number 1, Dylan Raiola is not reclassifying. Thank God. The last thing you want is another Quinn Ewers situation. You want Raiola to stay in the class of 2024. I do believe Ohio State will take a quarterback in 2023 because you have to understand if Devin Brown beats out Kyle McCord next year and you don't have a 2023 quarterback, you have zero depth. So I think Devin Brown beats out McCord. McCord hits the transfer portal. Obviously, he's going to be a junior. He's going to want to immediately start somewhere. You need some sort of depth. Ryan Day will find someone in the 2023 class, possibly a lower-ranked 4-star, or maybe some guy we don't even know about. But this start to 2024 is so unique for Ryan Day. You take a look at the last 2 big-time quarterbacks Ohio State's gotten, C.J. Stroud and Devin Brown. They've been late finds. You know, you always hear in recruiting the quarterback, the 5-star quarterback leads the class. It's been the opposite for Ohio State until 2024, where you couldn't ask for a better start. Ohio State has 1 player committed. He's a quarterback, and he's possibly the number 1 overall player in the nation. Now, right now, he is listed as the number 8 player in the nation. You can take a look at a full breakdown of all the rating services there. On3 has him at number 1, 247 Sports has him at number 1, and then Rivals actually has him at 28th overall. They're weighing down his composite. That's why he's ranked 8th on 247 Sports composite, which is a combination of all of them. And then apparently ESPN, they haven't even released their rankings yet. ESPN is a joke when it comes to recruiting. But overall, guys, I think Dylan Raiola is going to end up being the number 1 overall prospect in 2024. That is the expectation. We're still a ways away, but at this point, to me, he's the betting favorite to be the number 1 prospect, just in terms of the composite, and Ryan Day gets him. This is such a huge get. Apparently, he's visiting Ohio State in mid-June, preferably with Jeremiah Smith and maybe JoJo Trader. We're going to talk about both of those guys. When it comes to the 2024 class, Jeremiah Smith, the current number 1 overall receiver, he's ranked as the 3rd overall player. This kid's basically a lock for Ohio State. He actually wanted to commit to Ohio State during his visit a few months ago, but Ryan Day said, listen, I know you want to visit other places. It's understandable. You're a 2024 recruit. Don't commit yet. Take those other visits, and then when you come back, you can commit. I think Smith should be coming back for a summer visit, and I would put him on. I would expect him to commit. And then you've got your first 2 recruits, your first 2 2024 commits as 5-star top 10 players, the number 1 overall player in the nation, possibly in Dylan Raiola, and then the number 1 receiver in the nation. Oh my goodness, and then we got to talk about JoJo Trader, who Ohio State leads for. This is a top 10 player. This is the number 4 overall player, currently listed as an athlete, but I think Ohio State is recruiting him as a receiver. He could also be, a 5-star cornerback. That's how talented this kid is. But Ohio State, this kid may be a little bit of a lesser of a lock. When you look at, some of these 2024 players, his recruitment is still really early. I would not expect him to commit to Ohio State. And you do have that NIL issue. The hope is that the NIL stuff will all be regulated by the time, by the time the 2024 class signs. So Trader's going to get a lot of NIL offers from like Miami and Florida. Those 2 schools especially, he is from Miami, Florida. But right now, Ohio State, I would say, definitely leads for him. If they somehow land these 3 guys, the number 1 overall quarterback, the number 1 receiver, and possibly the number 2 overall receiver, it's absolutely elite. Absolutely elite. And the other thing to look at when it comes to these early rankings is the state of Ohio. Now, unfortunately, Ohio's really been declining in terms of overall talents. The talent pool just isn't there. In 2024, there's a decent prospect, Bryce West, who some people think is like a 5-star. I saw him run. He looks really stiff to me. I don't know. It's just one video, but I think he's a solid top 100 player. He's currently like a top 70 player, I think, in the composite. We'll have to see where he ends up, but, from Glenville, Ohio State hotbed, they're going to land him. And, you look at the state of Ohio in 2024. Really, when it comes down to Ohio, all I'm hoping for is one 5-star. Like, if we can just have one 5-star in the state of Ohio, that is, at this point, just based on how the talent has sort of dried up, that is what I would hope. For 2023, you had the Sonny Styles reclassified. That really killed any chances. Maybe Luke Montgomery becomes a composite 5-star, although I doubt it. I don't think he will. He's more of a guard, Luke Montgomery. But when it comes to the 2020, obviously 2024, it's looking amazing. People are a little concerned with the 2023 class. They've taken a lot of average 4-stars. We understand it. The bottom line is Ohio State is struggling a little bit due to NIL. It's not an excuse. It's just the reality. Ohio State is not willing to have their boosters pay for kids to straight up come to the school. You get the NIL opportunities when you're on campus. They don't want you to commit to Ohio State just because you've got boosters offering you money. It's the same approach Alabama's taking. It's the same approach Clemson's taking. It's the same approach a lot of schools are taking that are afraid of potential locker room issues. And there's certain running backs like Cedric Baxter Jr., he's not even considering Ohio State anymore because he wants an NIL deal. It is unfortunate, but it's just the reality, the current world we live in. I think the 2023 class, it's going to be at least top 4. I'm telling you. Yes, there's a lot of lower-ranked 4-stars in it right now, but Ohio State, they're in it on so many elite kids, especially receivers. Noah Rogers recently. I think Noah Rogers is a 5-star. I know he's ranked like 59th or whatever. Look at his build. It's unbelievable. And then you've got Brandon Annis. He is the number 1 overall receiver. They're expecting him to commit to Ohio State in the summer. Ohio State, they're going to be fine in 2023. I expect a minimum top 5 class. And then 2024, if you've already gotten, like, it's just so different to see Ryan Day. He's gotten his elite quarterbacks like CJ Stroud, like Devin Brown. Late, we remember the Quinn Ewers debacle. That's a whole different thing where he reclassified. But he's gotten his quarterbacks late in the process. 2024 is completely different, where you're already off and running. Your first commit is potentially the number 1 overall player in the nation, and he's a quarterback, so he can lead the class. He can lead the class from Arizona. You kind of wish he was from Florida because that's where we're recruiting a lot. That's where Ohio State is recruiting a lot right now. But either way, you couldn't ask for a better start to the 2024 class. And when you're leading by this much for the number 1 overall receiver, who probably would have already been committed if Ryan Day didn't say, listen, take your visits. We don't want you visiting other schools. You're a 2024 kid. Slow it down a little bit. He would have already been committed, and he's probably going to be committed to Ohio State thanks to Dylan Raiola, thanks to Brian Hartline this summer. Maybe they'll visit together. I don't really know, but the 2024 class for Ohio State is just ridiculous. 2023, a little bit of a slower start. Notre Dame is recruiting very well right now. I really am impressed with what Notre Dame is doing. They're getting solid 4-stars, even in the day and age with NIL. They're working around it. Notre Dame really isn't giving kids these massive contracts like some of these SEC schools, like a Florida will, like a Miami will, like a Texas A&M will. We're starting to see Texas A&M. I've seen them get some crystal balls for some top 50 players. It's their NIL collective. It's waking up for the 2023 class. Look out. And the NCAA is not regulating it. They put out a crap statement that means nothing. It is disgusting. They really got to do something about NIL, hopefully by the 2024 class. Otherwise, you could see a guy like JoJo Trader, who's a 5-star top 10 player in the nation, get a major offer from Miami and go there, even though Ohio State's recruited him better because of the NIL. You don't want to lose out on guys due to NIL. That, unfortunately, is happening. Another 2023 guy, Caleb Downs. There's a lot of Ohio State people They think Caleb Downs is coming. I am not optimistic. I don't see any way Georgia lets Caleb Downs is a beast. Safety. He's like a Jamal Adams type player. He's amazing. But Caleb Downs, Georgia is going to offer him some crazy NIL deal. I don't know if the kid is obsessed with NIL, but it's going to be very tough to turn down. The kid lives like 30 minutes away from Georgia's campus, and the reported top two are Ohio State, Alabama, and then Georgia's in third. I expect that kid to go to Georgia. I'm sorry. I am not optimistic Ohio State's going to get Caleb Downs, unfortunately. It's looking like the defensive class is going to be a little lacking with Ohio State. But that's typical with Ryan Day. He's an offensive guy. He recruits offense better. You know, you're hoping for another really good running back to pair with Mark Fletcher. We'll see. Maybe Richard Young, although it's looking like Alabama right now. They need to get another running back. They really do. After last year's weak haul. But overall, guys, the 2024 class, amazing start. We'll see who's the second commit. Maybe it's Jeremiah Smith, who would be the number 3 overall player. Then you got 2 commits. Both of them are 5 stars. This is amazing. Getting Dylan Raiola. Ryan Day saw his guy. He got him. And you know what? It might have been helped a little bit by Malachi Nelson. You know, Lincoln Riley was originally really recruiting Dylan Raiola. It was looking like maybe USC gets him, but they've got Malachi Nelson, who would, you know, is just 1 year younger. He's the number 2 overall prospect in 2023. So that may have turned Dylan Raiola off. And you see Ohio State really not recruiting a quarterback for 2023. They're going to have to take one, probably a lower end one. That's really attractive. The goal for Ohio State when it comes to the quarterback room, I've said this before, you want Devin Brown to win the starting job next year, so you get 2 years of Devin Brown, and then you get 2 years of Dylan Raiola. You want the 2 years. You don't want Kyle McCord winning the starting job next year, being a one and done and going off to the NFL, and then you have to break in a new quarterback back-to-back years. You want to avoid breaking in a quarterback back-to-back years, and the way to do that, you hope Devin Brown is as advertised. You hope, C.J. Stroud's going to go off to the NFL. Devin Brown wins the job next year. He starts 2 years. Then you slide in Dylan Raiola. His, second year he's with the program. And it's a seamless transition. That's how you recruit quarterbacks this day and age. It's an every other year thing, but you have to take a quarterback every year due to depth issues. Because if Devin Brown wins the starting job next year, Kyle McCord's going to transfer, and then you've got no one, literally no one. I mean, you can get a transfer portal QB, but you want to get a solid, skillful, developmental 2023 quarterback. That's what Ryan Day is going for, I'm guessing, in 2023. I don't know who that's going to be, but that's what I'm guessing Ryan Day is going to be doing. When it comes to 2024, no program has gotten off to a better start than Ohio State when it comes to recruiting. When you look at Dylan Raiola being committed, and they're also leading for the top 2 receivers in the nation. One of the kids almost already committed to Ohio State. So they're absolutely killing it in 2024, even with this NIL crap, which is hindering them significantly. This is not an excuse. It's the philosophy. It's the philosophy where Ohio State is not going to have their boosters pay kids just to come to Ohio State. They think it creates a horrible culture in the locker room. You can agree with it. You can disagree with it. That's the reality. When it gets regulated, it's going to be a major pro for Ohio State, and it's going to really hurt a school like Texas A&M. Really hurt a school like Texas A&M. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.